Alright, now that we have all of the Dinobots for the new Power of the Primes toy line, we are going to do a Volcanicus review, all of them combined. But before we do that, I'd like to show off all the Dinobots in their alt modes. We got Slug, Swoop, Grimlock, Snarl, and Sludge. Well, Slash, she's not really part of the whole combined mode, but it's really cool to have her along with the team. So there we go. So all right, let's get them all in robot mode. And here they all are in robot mode, looking fantastic together. Just getting ready to beat up some Decepticons. Let's get them all combined into Volcanicus. This is the Transformers Generations Power of the Primes Volcanicus. This is the combined mode of all the Power of the Primes Dinobots. Before I talk about the entire combined mode as a whole or in general, let me just start with this one. This is Slash. It's not an official combined mode. I know it's not an official weapon. I just felt really bad that Slash had no part in the whole Volcanicus thing, and somehow I just decided that she would be like a weapon, like a it's like a rock climbing grappling claw or grappling hook, or like a claw melee that Volcanicus could use. So let's start with her, so just so that it's out of the way. If you want to do this, you can get one of Slug or Sludge's guns, and you can just attach it to her tail just like that. It doesn't stay on super great. I mean, it'll fall off if you shake it vigorously, but it will stay just for display purposes, okay? And the Transformer, you just sort of transform her into Dinobot mode and just put the arms this way and then the legs that way. This one, I liked it because it's sort of like a claw, so I fashioned it that way and put the arms there. And yeah, it could be like a grappling claw hook. That's my unofficial weapon mode for Slash. So that's that. Let's get that out of the way, and let's look at Volcanicus. And I know I have imposed in sort of like a crouching combat stance. That's why he may seem a little bit beefier, but he's actually a little pretty thin. But he's not as bad as I thought he would be. He's actually very acceptable. I've seen Photoshop pictures of him on the internet before I got Sludge and Snarl. I didn't want to judge it based on that, and I said, you know, it doesn't look as great in the internet photos, and I'm gonna have to find out how he looks like when I get everybody. And sure enough, I wasn't at all too disappointed with the way Volcanicus turned out, and not as impressive as his graphics on the video games, but it will do. I'm actually very, very impressed that he actually holds and stands up quite nicely, even without upgrades. Speaking of upgrades, I am looking forward to getting upgrades. I hope whoever, Perfect Combiner or Perfect Effect, whoever has them, just like the other combiners, I hope they would do it. And I hope we'd get them and get them soon, so I can actually put them on him. But he's pretty cool. So let me just stand him up properly so we can talk more about his details, and we'll see how he stacks up. All right, and here is Volcanicus upright and proper. This is the official combined mode with Swoop here and Slug here, and Sludge and Snarl as the legs. Some people were requesting me to do Slug as the right leg and Sludge as the left arm. I think that has been the favorite variant of the combined mode. I'll probably show you guys that later after we talk about the figure. But for now, I'm actually quite pleased with this current setup. The issue with this is with Sludge here. A buddy of mine was saying that he kind of is leaning forward a bit, and that can be addressed quite easily by just what you want to do is you just sort of bend the legs without bending that ratchet joint all the way in. You just sort of bend the legs there, and you just fold the hips a little bit upward like that. And it should address that tipping over problem. To me, it's fine. To me, it just makes sense that you have the Diplodocus and the Stegosaurus at the feet, while the smaller ones, Triceratops and Pteranodon, are on the arms. It just kind of makes sense for me. But for some of you who want a more stable one, who probably like a better silhouette than this one, you can actually mix and match. Swoop looks great here because I like the wings on his shoulders. It kind of gives him that shield, or sort of like bladed shoulder armor or whatever. You could do whatever you want with it, but I do like that effect. I like that effect on his on Swoop's silhouette, on Volcanicus's silhouette, with Swoop on his right shoulder or right arm. Snarl, I also thought it would also be nice if you could open up the tail, sort of give it a little bit more of a armored knee area, just like how Swoop is, giving some of that nice armored aesthetic to the right shoulder. So yeah, you could do whatever you want to do. The enigma of combination is right here on Grimlock's head, Dinobot head, which is on the chest. You can swap that out with any of the Prime Masters if you wish, obviously, and you can imagine whatever the powers is it's upgrading Volcanicus with, whatever. Some issues though for the chest. Look at that, there's a big cavity right there. I'm sure the third-party upgrade manufacturers can address that somehow. The shoulder pieces, these pieces love to tab off as you're posing the shoulders. So yeah, that's a little bit of an issue. The feet, they don't have rocker joints forward and backward. They only have the ratcheting rocker joints that go laterally. So a little bit of a letdown there, but that's fine. As far as detail, I mean, the whole Dinobot thing, you've heard me say it. I love the new update. It gives us that G1 feel and all that. And this is one of those feels that when I was a kid, I always imagined those 5 Dinobots combining. And when we were, my buddies and I, when we were kids, we would always have these conspiracy theories and say, oh, the Dinobots did combine. Oh, maybe they can combine. Maybe he's the feet. Maybe we'd always imagine how the Dinobots would look. And this is sort of that satisfying enough feel that, without really buying the Shuriken or the third-party Dinobot combiners, you get your own Dinobot combiners, and I think it's good enough. I mean, Hasbro has been coming up with in the past few lines for their Generations lines. Some were great, some were not so great. Combiners were great, they had to be upgraded. This one looks okay. Upgrades would be nice, but I didn't have a lot of hope. My hopes and expectations weren't that high in combined mode for this one, and I was generally pleased with the way it came out. So he is a little bit thin, as you can see in the back, with all those distraction of all the armors and all that. The shoulders are a little bit wide and a little bit thin. I wish there was a little bit more mass here just to close out that torso. The hips could have been done differently. It's a little bit high. I think the official combination is you have the legs of Grimlock this way, but it just gives it a sort of fall impression that he's wider, and I think a more slender look of the legs being more perpendicular or more vertical, I think just gives it a better silhouette than that splayed out horse stance that the official instruction sheet was saying. That's just me. But he is a little bit thin, but he's not, the effect isn't as thin as I was expecting it to be. So all in all, I am very appreciative of what Hasbro's done, and there's that leaning thing again. I think a lot of kids are going to enjoy this, and a lot of old-time collectors are just going to have a little bit of a satisfying feel to it, that finally we get a decent official combining Dinobot toy or set from the official manufacturer of Transformers. That to me is good enough. And sure, I have some requests that they could have maybe done things differently with this one. Maybe more chrome, maybe something to fill out the joints, upgrades, sure. But as it is, I'm pretty happy with it. The combined mode is going to get a 9 out of 10 for me. Mainly because of issues of silhouette, the whole overall look and stability. I think it's pretty decent. 9 out of 10 for me. All right, maybe I can still show you the swapped out pieces. All right, and here is that reversed combined mode between Sludge and Slug. Yeah, it kind of works. The head of the Styracosaurus or Triceratops sort of matches the spikiness of Snarl's tail. It kind of works. Even Sludge's arm mode kind of works. My thing about it is the Dinobot mode of Slug is like a couple of millimeters, just a tad bit shorter than the alt mode of Sludge. And as you can see, it's not easy to perceive right now to see it, but he is leaning by like 1 degree or half a degree to his right. And yeah, and I personally would still prefer Sludge to be the right leg. Also, the arm mode of Sludge, it's okay, but something about it just makes it feel lopsided or a little bit much bigger than the right arm. I know he's also much bigger than Swoop's arm, than the Swoop arm, but I kind of like the proportions better with Sludge as the leg and Slug as the arm. So, final thoughts on the figure. You can do whatever you want combination. Obviously, you can put Swoop as a leg and Snarl as an arm as well. I'm not going to show you all the combinations. That's the fun of it. You can do it on your own. It is a decent combined mode. It's not perfect, but it's acceptable. I'm very pleased with the direction Hasbro is trying to bring us with these Power of the Primes as a sort of conclusion and perhaps last hurrah of G1 influenced and G1 inspired toys that we're gonna get for the Generations line. I loved from Combiner Wars, Titan's Return, and now Power of the Primes. I really appreciate what they're doing, and I cannot wait for the next Combiner, the Terracons, to come into fruition. I love what they've done with this one. And again, not perfect. It's gonna get a 9 out of 10 for me. But we're gonna see another trilogy after this, which is more Cybertronian based. I'm not that excited about it. I do like the Earth-based G1 modes, but we'll see. I'm sure I'm still gonna get them. It's a great set if they're sold separately. If you can track them down on retail, do so. Do not get them at scalper prices. Try to get them at below suggested retail price. That is the best thing you can do for these. It's a great set. It'll bring back a lot of feels, G1 feels back when you were a kid. And yeah, well done, Hasbro. So this has been the Transformers Generations Power of the Primes Volcanicus, the combined mode of the Power of the Primes Dinobots, featuring Grimlock, Snarl, Slug, Swoop, and Sludge. Thanks for watching.